Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. So, just a continuation of something else that Coach Cristobal spoke about yesterday morning. He talked about James Williams. He talked about Kam Kinchens. I'm gonna get on to James Williams first, and I'm gonna finish up with the Kam Kinchens. So he said that James Williams has been battling through injuries, right? Battling, just fighting. And so when I saw that, I thought it. I said, wait a minute, wait a minute. I do remember, I don't remember what game it was. I don't know if it was the Virginia game or what the situation was, but there was a game that James Williams didn't play. And I don't recall anyone necessarily speculating that James was out due to injury. Some people kind of speculated maybe like, well, maybe he's one of the guys that's kind of giving up on the team, right? So that kind of seemed like what the speculation was, but Coach Cristobal kind of, obviously laid it out. It's clear, kind of as clear as day. But I like to play devil's advocate, right? Let's go back. James Williams, along with Leonard Taylor, were two of the biggest hauls that the University of Miami has gotten over the last decade, right? And so when you get two guys like that, especially two guys, but I'm talking about James solely, but I have to couple him with Leonard Taylor because both of them came in with just high expectations, right? And I say that it's one thing to be the man in the city, right, where only the people around you are looking at you as being the guy. It's a completely different thing, on the national stage at a very prominent program, and now people are looking at you. I think it was on three, which some people don't look at them as being valid. Some people do look at them as being valid, but I just look at it like this: you just have to show that a line of or a level of consistency over a set amount of time, and either you're going to falter or you're going to ascend. So I'm not going to say they're irrelevant. I'm not going to necessarily say they're relevant. I'm just going to say that they're in a space that they are trying to catch some footing. But they rank James Williams as one of the best returning safeties in the entire country, right? So that's a national publication by many respects. So now you're on that, your name is out there. So people who may have not been watching the Miami Hurricanes, especially last year, but they may have started watching it towards the end of the year, I think most people would say the two players that most national media was looking at was number 9 and number 0, which is Tyler Van Dyke and James Williams. So obviously James Williams had an injury that, towards the end of the year, and he had to work his way back. So now we got a new defense. And so now we're not just asking James to play back deep. We're asking James to play at all three levels, right? Obviously, some, people associate that what they call the Isaiah Simmons role, which was famously, curated by Brett Venables and Isaiah Simmons, who just turned into a freak of nature, right? I don't think James is Isaiah Simmons. Ideally, from a standpoint that I don't think James is that fast. He may get that big, but he's not going to test like Isaiah Simmons, but that's the Isaiah Simmons role, right? So you come in as a true freshman, you play well, when a guy goes down, you come in when, we had automatically said, okay, this is time for the freshman to take over. It's time for the freshman to play. And you play very well, right? So we're rolling that over into the next season. Obviously, again, we're not really taking into account how well you're rehabbing from the injury. We just see 0 out there. That's kind of like what Shannon Sharp always says when he's talking to Skip. He says, hey, the fans, they're not thinking about what a player went through. They're just looking at it and say, hey, number 0's out there? Okay, we expect you to do number 0 things. And when you're not doing number 0 things, we as fans, again, we completely forget that, hey, this man is still coming back from an injury. We don't really know how his body, we don't even know if he's at 100%. We just know he's on the field. So we assume that he's at 100%, but we don't really know if he's at 100%. But the expectations that we have on him are not going to be dialed back to how he performs at less than 100%. They're going to be dialed up to how we think he should perform at 110%. You know what I mean? So, when Coach Cristobal said that, it kind of made me think. I said, man, I wonder is James kind of is the pressure getting to him? Because I don't do the I don't do the social media with the players on the team. I don't follow the players. I don't tweet the players. I don't follow the players on Instagram. If you look at my algorithm, no Miami Hurricane player will come up. Period. I don't search for them or anything. If I see somebody post something on the board, I might click on the link, but I'm not doing that, right? So I can only imagine, again, what some of the social media stuff that these guys have to deal with. Thinking back to what Canesville was speaking about, when they were talking about Malik Rozier. Malik was saying, like, some of the things that, fans would send to him, like death threats and all this stuff. So I can only imagine, some of the things that James Williams may be getting. And every player does not know how to deal with that. Not at a national level. You're a complete stranger. I may click on your page and it may say you from doggone San Diego, California. I'm in Miami, Florida. I've never met you. I've never seen you. But yet, you're saying all this to me, right? And so I just look at it as Coach Cristobal, maybe looking out for his guy and, saying, hey, look, he's been battling through some injuries, guys, you know. And when you say that, it makes me think, okay, well, he may not be practicing as much because the objective is to make sure that he's ready for Saturday. So to make sure he's ready for Saturday, what y'all do Sunday through Friday has to be different, right? So is he on the sideline just taking mental reps? Is he studying a little bit more film? Is it a lot less, physical in practice for him? Because again, we got to preserve him for Saturday. Now, I will say this. I didn't feel when James Williams got that personal foul penalty that he should have stayed in the game. I feel like he should have been pulled to the sideline for a couple of plays and put somebody else in, to try to teach a lesson, but that's a different discussion for a different day. But with that said, I do think that that could be what it is. Hey, my guy's a little nicked up, so that's going to associate with him being maybe a little bit slow to the ball carrier. That may be associated with him not necessarily wrapping up and tackling and stuff like that. It may just be a field situation, right? Obviously not taking angles, just depending on how the practice is. So, I mean, it's a multitude of different things. I'm not saying that James is not battling injuries, but I do think that if he is battling injuries, it also can be used as as a lifeline to say, hey, back off the gas some, guys. Like, come on, just back off, right? He's adjusting to multiple different roles, and if we can somehow keep some continuity with this, you'll see a completely different player next year, even if he is battling injury, because he'll be a lot more comfortable in whatever role with the role that we have him in right now. So that's the way I took that. As far as Kam Kinchens, man, I've said it on multiple different videos that Cam is my favorite player on this entire football team. And so I'm happy to see that over the last couple of games, he has really turned his game up to a whole nother level. And now those are my expectations of Cam. That, hey, I've seen you at this level. So the expectation is, hey, we know that you can play at this level. So we shouldn't lower the expectations down for you, right? Because we know that you can play at this level. So we just hopeful that you have a nice upward trajectory, and all the good things that are coming to you, you get them all. You finish the year strong, you're going to be on some list coming into next year. Some guys that know. I don't know if it's preseason All-American, but obviously you should maybe preseason first team All ACC, right? But what's interesting about that, and this is not something that Coach Cristobal said, this is something I saw on Canesville, and I think Streeter said, Cam is literally playing with one arm tied behind his back. And I got to thinking, I said, well, is he saying that Cam is injured? I didn't watch the live show. I was watching a replay, so I wasn't able to send in a super chat or anything like that to ask, are you saying that Cam is injured or something like that? But I do see that he has the little brace, upwards towards his shoulder. And I remember that Don Chaney had one of those his freshman year, and the word was that Don was dealing with some shoulder injuries. So if Cam is dealing with some shoulder injuries, I don't know the severity of it, but he doesn't seem like he's missing a beat. He led the team last week in tackles. I'm not the big person to say that, that's a good thing because I don't necessarily like to see safeties lead the team in tackles. But when reviewing just reviewing some plays again, just realizing Cam made some tackles behind the line of scrimmage. He made some tackles right there, you know, close to where the linebackers were and stuff like that, filling alleys and things like that. So all 13 tackles weren't him saving a touchdown, right? So they were kind of a mixed bag of just him being, versatile and moving around the field like the guy that we expect him to be. So that was just good. And if you watched the game, you heard the announcer say that Coach Cristobal pinpointed Kam Kinchens as well as Wesley Basaint as being two guys that have the mental makeup or just have the look and the play style and the hunger to be guys that are going to that we can basically put the program on those type of guys' backs, and those are the type of guys that are going to get Miami back to the level that we as fans want them to get back to. Hopefully James Williams and Leonard Taylor, as well as some of the offensive personnel, they also begin to mimic whatever it is that Wesley Basaint and Kam Kinchens are doing, because we do need a solid core, regardless of how many guys, leave from the particular program. We do need the solid core of guys who, have been here. We need to keep some of those guys here. Everyone shouldn't need to leave or be asked to leave, right? But, that was all that I wanted to say about the, breakdown of what Coach Cristobal said. And as always, it's about the you.